Coming to you monthly since 2010, this is the TSG Multimedia Podcast about trains, model railroading, and historic preservation. We're sponsored this month by the TSG Train Crew on Patreon. Visit patreon.com/TSG Multimedia for more information. ModelRailroadControlSystems.com, electronics for operations. The Western Pacific Railroad Museum, WPLives.org. Podomatic.com, a podcast hosting and distribution platform. If you'd like to sponsor this program, please email podcast@tsgmultimedia.com.
Boy, do we have a show for you this time. The big boy visited early last month, so of course we had to document that. We also shot a layout tour, had a great talking trains show, documented the Tuolumne Railroad weekend event, chased ghost trains for YV days, and a lot more. To give you an idea of how busy we've been, I'm sitting in the TSG Intergalactic headquarters recording and editing this podcast during the 2 days we have in between trips. As you're watching this, we're in Southern California shooting more great content. Speaking of shooting more great content, you can become one of the great people who help us do just that by adding yourself to the list of names scrolling past on my left. These are the members of the TSG Train Crew on Patreon who help us do the work we do here on the channel. They enjoy behind-the-scenes updates practically as they happen, and also get to see all the Saturday features in 4K ultra-high definition with no ads and no watermark in the corner of the screen. It helps us out a lot, so please join the crew today for as little as $2 a month, and you can also enjoy some of these perks that I just mentioned.
Hey everybody, it's Mike Coen, again, with my friend John.
I don't even need to say anything. But
you need no introduction.
but I will say something. Sydney and I have driven back to the Reno area. We were here last fall, I guess it was, to do the video of all the model railroad layouts around here. And I've been talking about, and we've been talking about on the podcast and on the Talking Train shows, this big shindig with the 4014, the big boys coming to town this week. And so we drove up here and we actually have a few things to do. Tomorrow we're going to shoot a layout tour video with Jim Petro, who has a beautiful Rio Grande layout up here. We featured that as one of the layouts on the
November layout tour, yeah.
Yeah, the video I just mentioned, which is here. You can look for it. I think it's called Great Northern Nevada Layouts or something like that.
Something like that, yeah.
Or Railroads. I don't remember, but you can find it if you look for it on the channel here. And then on on Tuesday, we're going to film the big boy arriving in Portola. And then Wednesday's the big shindig. That's when there's going to be a bunch of people there. Big boy's going to be on display.
It's going to be a really great show. We expect literally thousands of people, and hopefully a lot of you out there are going to be there. We're going to have speeder cars, rides. We're going to actually run the caboose train so that guests can pick up the caboose train at the museum and go through the balloon loop and out to see the big boy. There'll be food trucks, a G-scale layout. I think we're also going to have a modular HO layout, I think. I can't remember. It's all kind of been a blur. We've been very busy at the Western Pacific Railroad Museum so that you guys get a real up-close and personal view of the big boy that you're not going to get trackside.
Yeah. What's ironic about all this is that by the time you see this, it was last month sometime, because this is going to be out the 1st of May.
Well, I hope you had a good time.
Yeah, I hope you had a great time. But my point is, this is a podcast update, and for the patrons mostly who get the behind the scenes as it happens. So, we have that. And then that night, there's a fundraising dinner where Ed Dickens, the head of the Union Pacific Steam Department, is going to be giving some talk. So we're going to cover that. And then Thursday, it's going to be out to where
it's departing the museum at 8:30 in the morning, or somebody just told me 8 o'clock. I'm not sure which. I'll clarify that. And then it's going. It's making several short stops along the way on its trip to Roseville, where it will be on public display as well.
Yeah. And probably most of the people watching this on the podcast next month went to Roseville to see it. Right. But it won't be like last year when it was 150 degrees in Roseville. It's going to actually be a nice day.
Yeah. I looked at the forecast for Portola, and earlier, like a week ago, they were predicting rain and snow.
I saw that.
Well, now it's going to be nice, and it's going to be in the mid 60s, so it should be a really nice day.
Yeah. So it's going to be a really, really, really busy week for Sydney and me this week. And Mike, of course, and everybody at the Western Pacific Railroad Museum. And then, the rest of the month is just jam-packed. I think we have something every week for several days. I got to look at my calendar and get tired again.
This man is busy.
It seems like we do a lot of stuff. So anyway, so that's what's going on. I'll have more podcast updates as this week progresses.
And in case you're wondering, the background is my layout that I'm building, Western Pacific Oregon Division version 2.0 here in Reno. And it's coming along. One of these days, John will do a video, and we
were just talking about that.
Yeah. So not soon, because I got a long way to go, but you can see in the background there's some backdrop painting, there's some structures, I've got some yards done and everything, but I got a long way to go.
Yeah.
But it's going to be a really nice design.
There's a lot of bench work in here and a lot of equipment, and in case
too much equipment.
Well, in case you're wondering, this guy seems familiar, but not from last year. We've done actually 2 layout tours at the Western Pacific Oregon Division version 1.
Yeah.
That was in the Bay Area before you moved up here. So you can search for those here on the channel, or I'll put a link in the podcast description when I get around to doing the actual podcast.
Yeah. So it was a great layout then, and this layout is going to be even better.
So I'm wearing my Rio Grande shirt today. Thanks, Jeff. That's my friend Jeff who gave me the Rio Grande shirt. And I'm here wearing this shirt because we're at Jim Petro's layout, and he has a really nice Rio Grande layout. And Jim, if you met somebody in an elevator and they said, I heard about your layout, what would you tell them about it?
I would tell them it's fabulous. But anyhow, it's a 1950s era Rio Grande layout, ops oriented, and we have a real big group of guys that like to come and run trains here.
He invited us to come do ops on Saturday. I don't know if we'll be able to, but if we do, there's going to be another podcast update from the op session. We'll find out. We'll see how we feel, because this week, I can't even talk. This week is going to be a really, really busy week for us, as I mentioned, including this layout tour. But we're at it. And, I was out here, I think last November or October, and showed you some glimpses of this layout on the Great Railroads of Northern Nevada video that I did, which you can search for on this channel. And this is definitely one of, if not the best layout in the area. So, I've been looking forward to this. So thanks for having us.
Okay. Any old time.
Well, it's one of those times where I probably look tired. He does too, because it's been a really long day, and we just finished what I think is going to be a really good layout tour. It's a really good layout, so I'm going to work really hard to make sure that I do it justice. And he's so tired he can't even talk.
Can't talk. No.
Yeah. No. But I will say that once this video comes out, I think that someone out there, or a lot of people out there, are going to find a lot of inspiration and good ideas, because what Jim copied from other people is really good stuff, and the stuff that he came up on his own is also really good stuff. So thanks for having us.
Well, good to have you here.
Hi, this is the next day, and hey, I'm still tired from yesterday. But we have kind of an easier day today. We're on our way to Portola now. And so what's going to happen at Portola is I think I'm going to start producing the video about the event by having people from the Western Pacific Railroad Museum talk about the prep for the event, because, you know, people show up to events like what's going to happen tomorrow and they're just like having a great time and have no idea of all the work and prep and planning and everything that went into it. Kind of like, you know, when you rebuild the steam locomotive, well, people show up when it runs and they're like, yay, a train, but they have no idea how many hundreds or thousands of man hours it took to make that happen. So we're doing the behind the scenes, I think, today. And of course, we'll capture the video of the big boy arriving, and I'll probably have some more updates for you during the day. So just, you know, this is the behind the scenes stuff that you get. We'll see you at the next update. So we're picking up another volunteer on the way to the museum. But Mike, since we're sitting here for a second, I thought I'd get you to talk about the event for the podcast. Not about the event per se, because it'll already be done by the time people watch this, but just about sort of the prep, you know, like how much time do you think you've spent, or how much time do you think the volunteers are putting in for this thing?
Well, I can't quantify it, but it's a huge amount of time. And we've been prepping for this event for probably 6 to 8 months at least, since it was first announced. And the UP graciously agreed to stop and have the big boy displayed at the Western Pacific Railroad Museum for the day. I can say that there are at least a dozen people at the museum who have been highly involved, myself included. Some people have been in meetings with the city of Portola, Union Pacific, the Union Pacific Police, the California Highway Patrol, Plumas County Sheriffs, and numerous other people. I mean, the behind the scenes prep for an event like this is extensive. And I don't think a lot of people realize how much work it takes to put on something like this. A huge amount of coordination. We're having a banquet tonight with Ed and the rest of the steam crew.
I thought that's tomorrow night.
Tomorrow night. Sorry. And coordinating that, the catering, the coordinating the venue, coordinating you, John, and getting TSG to cover this. It's a lot of work.
Yeah, but we're easy, though, because I can't say no to anything.
Yeah, that's true. Well, you know, I mean, you get to come to a really cool event and, you know, experience it firsthand and behind the scenes. And, you know, I mean, who wouldn't? But it is a lot of work. And I just want the viewers to know and appreciate how much work it takes. I haven't even done as much work as our president and our secretary, who are constantly on phone calls and meetings just for this event, as well as the day-to-day operations and long-term planning for the museum. Just so much goes into this. So I hope people do appreciate it. But most importantly, I hope people really have a good time.
One of the cool things that's happening here today at the museum is Mike's bringing something special that was made specifically for the event. And it's these little, what is it, like a number plate, I guess?
It's a number plate. It's actually an exact scaled down copy of the number plate that's on the front of the 4014. I have a friend who has a machining company in Australia, and he actually made the reproduction plates on the 4014.
The actual 4014.
The actual 4014. They took all the originals off and put them in the Union Pacific Museum, and so everything that's on the engine are reproductions. Well, he's the guy that actually made them, and he also made these. And these are just a scaled down replica, and they are polished metal. He machined them, and then he painted them and everything and sent them to me. And they are for sale exclusively in the Western Pacific Railroad Museum gift shop, and will probably be online if there are any left after tomorrow. Last time the big boy was here, I think we had about 50 of them, and they sold out within hours. So get yours now.
I just put the drone up and took some aerial footage of this entire museum from above. It's a really impressive collection, including the Centennial, which is something, we can't see these anywhere anymore. Not on the tracks anyway. I think there's only one remaining that could run. That's somewhere in the Midwest. It went as part of a collection that UP sold or donated to a museum out there, and they're going to restore and hopefully run the 3985 one of these days. But they also got the 6936, if memory serves. And they have the 6946 here. It's pretty cool to see these things. They're really big. It's a bit later, and we're just kind of wandering around, looking at the museum, catching footage and shots of stuff that I need for the program, talking to people here. And I came across an old friend. I was out here in, I think, 2016 and did a little shot of, chasing trains in front of this little cab of an F unit. And the story behind this is it used to live at Disneyland. Well, California Adventure, which is part of Disneyland. And it came up here, 10, 15 years ago, something like that. And it's been here ever since. And I was just talking to one of the people here who has a plan for this, talking about what they're going to do with it eventually. And it's really cool. I'm not going to tell you what it was because I don't have the details memorized, but it's not going to just sit here is the point. And it's cool that they were able to get it. So, but it's still here, and you can come see this in Portola as well.
I am installing a water line. Here you go. We got to put in some water lines because some of the pipes in this place are pretty old. So that's what you do. And the more volunteers we have, the better it is. Because everything in here is old and needs fixing. So that's the crux of our situation. We always need people to come up. If it's for a day or a week, whatever time you can spare, we would love to have you.
It's a bit later. We have the 1983 that just showed up here behind me. That's the Union Pacific, Western Pacific Heritage Unit. That's part of the event this year. We had some clues that might happen. And right now we're still waiting for 4014, but it should be here real soon. So this is kind of cool. I mean, well, anything with the big steam engine is pretty cool to me. We took a lot of really good video today that's going to be part of the program that I'm working on for this event. And I learned a lot about the museum here today too. So it's been a good day, and boy, tomorrow is going to be brutal because it's going to be a long day, early up and late down. So I'll give you some updates tomorrow. Expect me to look tired again. today's the big day for the Western Pacific Railroad Museum. Look, I even got my shirt on for WPRM there, repping at the museum. But this is the big day. They're going to be open to the public, have the big boy on display. The steam crew's going to be hanging around talking to people, and it's a big deal for a place like this because Portola is kind of out of the way. And I think events like this will really put them on the map for the general public. So I think that's really cool. We're going to go to Mike now and see what he thinks.
It's amazing to see this piece of, historical technology up close and personal is pretty amazing. And it is such a boost to the museum. You mentioned that it is pretty out of the way. The big boy visit will probably help us with our budget, probably to the tune of at least half, if not the entire annual budget for us, so that we can accomplish our mission of preserving the history of the Western Pacific Railroad and, history of Northern California in general. So it's an amazing contribution from Union Pacific for them to allow us to put it on display and make a little money off it. It's awesome.
I'm super impressed with all the volunteers at the museum, watching them work so hard to put all this together, and it looks like they're just kind of thinking of all the details. It looks great. Looks like they're going to run a really nice event so that everybody has a really good experience. So looking forward to it.
Hi, we've made it to the museum, and it's the calm before the storm, really, because my expectation, or the expectation here, is it's going to be something like 3,000 people or more here today. But everything seems to be ready. They're having a meeting inside, and we got the cameras ready. We're good to go. So we're going to go get started documenting stuff. I've never seen this Abraham Lincoln engine before. To be honest, I'm not even sure I knew they had this. But that's a cool paint scheme. I like that. I like these special paint schemes that the railroads come up with. It makes you feel special for seeing something that there's only one of. Well, this is a bit later, and as you can see, the crowds start to fill in a bit. And this is what people came here for. I've already had some people talking on our official video, and it's just going to be doing this all day long. So far, so good. So this is a bit later, and you never know who you'll run into. I was just walking through the crowd here, and someone said, "Hey, you're John." And so I ran into Chase.
Hey, hello, how you
Chase,
doing?
Say something to the podcast.
Hey, hello, my name is Chase Engley. I'm from Wenatchee, Washington, and 4 of us came down here from Wenatchee yesterday. Came down from Wenatchee to Susanville yesterday, and now we're here today, and we're going to chase the 4014 in Orville tomorrow.
Nice.
Yeah, but I just wanted to say I really enjoy your podcast. Me and my friends have been watching it for years. And
thank you.
Yeah, we really enjoy it.
Do you have a YouTube channel that you're going to post your stuff to, or are you just chasing?
Nope, just chasing.
Nice.
Just Chase is chasing trains.
That's Chase, and he's
Chase chases trains.
That's right. I was just going to... That's even better than what I came up with.
I know, yeah.
All right, thank you for saying something.
Thank you.
Just goes to show, if you're around and you see us, you got to stop us and say hi. It's wonderful to meet people that watch the show. So this is a bit later, and you can see there's still a pretty good crowd going here. But what's kind of cool about this is it's not too crowded. See, it's not just standing room only. So if you have an event like this where the big boy's coming to a local museum for you, or if it comes back here again, and you can get in on this is a great way to see it, because not only is it not a huge mob scene, but there's also facilities here and food and all that good stuff. So this is a good way to see the big boy if you get a chance to. All right then, so it's a bit later, and I'm sitting in there. I guess it's an engine shop here at the museum.
That bell is the bell from the 165. That's an 060 engine that they have here, that they've actually run here before, steam engine. Anyway, the event here is wrapping up. It's getting toward the end, and so I talked to some of the organizers who said they had a really good turnout here, probably higher than they expected, and it seems like everybody here had a really good time. And we still have to go to a dinner tonight where Ed Dickens is going to be talking, and we're going to record the whole thing. It should be up on the channel at some point in the not too distant future so that the Western Pacific Railroad Museum can link to it. Of course, Patreon members will get to see it before everybody else. So if you're not a Patreon member, please sign up. You'll be glad you did. Anyway, that's it for now. We'll probably have an update from the place where we're doing the dinner. All right, this is a bit later, and we're at the venue for where Ed's going to do his talk. And it's a bit of a challenge. You see, it has this big fireplace in the middle of it. So we have a camera on one side and a camera on the other side to try to triangulate. And again, that's something that we're going to be producing and probably posting to the channel sometime in the very near future so that the Western Pacific Railroad Museum can link to it. But this is a pretty classy place and pretty nice.
So I just increased the throttle a little bit, and then 844 was just slamming along, and pretty soon that train's doing 50 miles an hour, and I'm doing 60. And we passed that train, and it took a long time, many months.
Hey, it's kind of dark in here, and it's kind of loud in here. I'm pretty fried, but I wanted to come on with an update because the event here is over. Ed gave a really good talk and a very entertaining talk. And so I'm just ready to sleep. So I'm going to leave this update with this, and I'll see you on the next update, whatever it is. Hey, look, I'm tired again. And this is the next morning. We're headed back to Portola. And boy, we had a really good time, I think, at that dinner last night. Ed gave a great talk. I think I might have mentioned that last night when I was doing the podcast update. He is really one of the best spoken people I've ever heard talk. Very, very eloquent, and he knows what he wants to say. So that was good. I'm looking forward to eventually sharing that presentation with the channel here.
He's more eloquential than me.
Eloquential.
Yeah.
It's a new word.
Yeah. He talk real good.
Yeah. He's a good talker, man.
Yeah.
But so anyway, we're going back to Portola this morning to catch the big boy leaving the area, and we had originally some plans to kind of chase it around the canyon a little bit, just to one other place, but we decided to scrap that idea probably a couple weeks ago because we didn't think we'd be able to make it out of Portola to where we wanted to catch it fast enough. And frankly, we're expecting a major foam show in the canyon, like traffic and too many people, and Highway 70 is only a 2-lane road in every place I can think of. Anyway, so we're going back to Portola to catch the big boy's departure. We're a little bit west of the museum right now. We came in on the highway where there's a one-way traffic control, and so we got into town a bit later than we had hoped to. So we came a little west of the museum, and the train's about ready to come through here. So I have the drone up, I have the cameras ready, I have this camera ready, and we're ready. We just have to wait for it to come.
Hey, it's the next day, and I was talking to Mike yesterday about some of his models, and I thought since we're here and since Mike's building this great WP layout here in Reno, that we'd maybe do a little show and tell. And he says, oh yes, I have this really cool model. So Mike, it's your model, so you tell them what the model is, and we'll show this.
This is a model of Central California Traction number 80, which has quite a history. It started out as Spokane International engine, painted in UP colors, but lettered for Spokane International. Then it went to the Tidewater Southern subsidiary of the Western Pacific, and it stayed in UP colors for a while, and then it was sold to Central California Traction. And it works the Fruit Ridge area of the Central Valley, and now it's still preserved in Willits, California. This model is a Atlas RS1, and I think it's about 40 years old. There were no decals available for CCT back then. Microscale hadn't come out with them. So it's all hand lettered, hand striped, or, striped with just decals. The barricade stripes on the ends were hand applied one at a time. And eventually Microscale came out with the Herald, and I did that. First it had no decoder. Then it had a straight non-sound NCE decoder, and then it had a Economy, but it was a 244 rather than a 539 turbo decoder. And then our friend and pal Ethan Doty,
who's much taller than 6'3".
much taller.
Yeah.
Ethan,
like this. He's like this tall. He's like 6'8".
yeah, something like that. He took it and he put the correct 539 turbo engine in it, or decoder in it, and he also made the flasher beacon work and put LED headlights on it and truck lights. So it's gone through several iterations, and I'm very proud of it because I've kept it for so many years, and it's going to be, of course, on the Western Pacific Oregon division. It probably somehow got moved up to Oregon because, they were short of motive power or something like that. I'll figure out a justification for it.
It must have been a real emergency if WP contacted CCT to get it.
Oh, yeah, they were really power short.
Very important.
Yeah,
it's a very important engine.
That's right. Appropriate WP 5 chime.
Bye, locomotive. Have fun in Oregon on the WP. Hello, it's the next day, and we're back at Jim Petro's Rio Grande layout. It turns out that we have a little bit of time this morning, and Jim is having an op session today, and he was going to be heartbroken if we didn't come do some operations. So I told him we have to leave by noon at the latest. So I asked him for a job that we can do maybe in the first half of the session and then take off around lunchtime. So we're actually going to get to operate here. And I'm really excited about that because ever since I saw this layout last year, and knowing that it's an ops-based layout and knowing that other people have operated on it and said it was really great, and during the layout tour, seeing how well it operated, while we were filming, sign me up. So I asked him for some kind of a switch intensive job that can be done half the session, and we'll see what happens. But I'll try to share as much as I can with you to show you what the experience was. So it should be fun. So we're doing a job called the Montrose Local, where we're having to put some cars together, assemble a train up here. We're on the top deck, and Jim has these really cool, I guess they're like step ups that they actually are on hinges, and they flip up when they're not in use. But when you have to use them, you flip them down. And something else that Jim has that's really cool is these little ledges, and they have small slots where you can set your cards. I think that's a really good idea. It's the only ledges we usually have access to. You set your cards down on them like this. But with the slot, you can actually set them up and read them. which is pretty cool. I like it. It's a couple days later now, and I just want to say we had a really good time operating on Jim's layout. This is one of the nicest looking and well-running layouts that I've seen. Doesn't derail, so the track work is really good, and the scenery, as you could tell, is really well done as well. So we ended up doing about half the job in the hour and a half or two before we had to leave. There was a weather front moving in, so we had to get out of town and get over the pass. Don't want to end up like the Donner Party. So we left at about lunchtime as planned, made it back home on Saturday afternoon. And it was a really interesting and fun few days up in Reno. I want to thank Mike for having us up there. Really appreciate that. Want to thank the Western Pacific Museum for hosting the Big Boy and having us document it. I think that's going to be a really interesting video. I've already put together the talk with Ed Dickens, and that is also a very interesting video. That guy knows how to talk, and he has some great stories and great ways of telling stories. And also, I want to thank Jim Petro for having us to operate and also for letting us document his layout. That's a really nice layout, and it operates exceptionally well. So thanks to everybody, and hey, thanks to all our Patreon members for helping make it happen. Hello, it's April 15th, and this is your podcast update for the Talking Trains show. And today, Murph and I had Thomas Gazier on. Thomas does a lot of things. He's a real railroader. He runs the Crossing Gate podcast, and he's a model railroader as well. And he's actually earned his Master Model Railroader certificate from the NMRA. So he's quite an accomplished person when you think about it. Tells me that Murphy tells me that he does whatever he sets out to do, right?
Yes, and it sounds like he's really dedicated to it, especially looking at his layout.
Yeah, so he talked today mostly about his layout, and he has basically a proto-lance. Well, it's a freelance, but it's really based in reality of a mining company. And it's a really interesting program because he takes you through his thought process, and some of the things that he came up with, the ideas that he came up with, I think would go a long way toward making any proto-lance or freelance railroad plausible. So I would say definitely watch this show if you have that kind of idea in your head. And my biggest takeaway, I think, Murph, from this discussion that we had with Tom was the sort of industrial, I want to call it a motif or a industrial, I don't even know what you call it, mode that he decorated all of his cars and his rolling stock and his locomotives and all that with. It's very believable. It's just a plain yellow paint scheme with a big black number on the side that's like a stencil number that to me screams industrial, railroad that's working. And that was my takeaway. It's all weathered nicely, but that whole idea of having a very simple paint scheme that would be easy to maintain or easy to create, I guess, for someone who's thinking about creating their own. That really worked for me.
Yeah, well, a lot of it is kind of in his idea of he doesn't model a railroad, he models a company.
Right.
And the railroad is simply a part of the company. And so the whole mode of operation on this thing is delivering iron ore to the docks and back, bringing back the empties and refilling and all that. And it is well thought out for every step of the operation, including ways to make it more fun and easy for the operators to actually accomplish, these themed operations for this company that's making a living doing this kind of business. And the whole model railroad is steeped in that idea, and I like that a lot.
Yep. There's only one thing I think, Murph, that he missed on, and we gave him some grief. Well, I gave him some grief for this. Well, we kind of both did, which was he has these great legible car numbers painted on the sides of the cars that you can actually read, and you don't even have to read the car numbers in his option.
No, it was almost sad. It's like, well, let's steal this idea for some other railroad, because part of the way he sets up his operations, you don't really need to read the car number, which is fantastic.
It is.
There are so many places I go where the car numbers are this big, and I can see pretty small things, but they're usually buried somewhere. And this is so legible. And so, oh my gosh, why doesn't everybody do this?
Yeah. The number's right there. I can read it. What? I don't need to read it? Oh.
Yeah.
Oh, well.
Anyway.
Anyway, it was a great show, I think, and I hope that people will watch it, because I think they'll get a lot of inspiration and a lot of ideas from it that, it's worth it. So, Talking Trains, check it out.
Great show. You want to watch this one.
So you may be wondering what that is that we just saw. We're up here at Railtown 1897 State Historic Park, and this is the weekend for the Tuolumne Railroad weekend. And we came up on Friday because there's a train ride tonight. Then there's the West Side reunion tomorrow, followed by a banquet, and then there's a Sierra Seminar event on Sunday. So it's the next event in this chain of events. And look, there's somebody here that we know.
Uh-oh.
Hey, it's Garrett. Hey, Garrett.
Howdy.
How you doing?
Oh, so far so good. Just playing trains, trying to stay out of trouble.
What's going on up at Railtown these days?
Moving trains, running steam engines, having special events, charters, all that fun stuff.
Are you on the crew tonight?
Yeah, I'll be fireman.
Oh, the fireman.
Yeah, it's my job not to blow it up.
So nothing happens without him making the train available to move or able to move. Okay, so let's go have some lunch.
All right.
This is a bit later, and they're getting the number 3 steamed up behind me there in that roundhouse. And we're just getting some videos of the key players here who've organized the event for this weekend. It should be a very interesting program, I think, once it's put together. But, already seeing people we know and what I refer to as old friends. And I'm sure we'll be meeting plenty of new friends too. That's what these events are about. And I will mention one other thing. And I mention this every time that we come back up here for these events on this weekend, is that the weather is just perfect. It's like 72 or 75 degrees. There's a very light sort of cool breeze. This is like the best weather that you could possibly hope for a weekend like this. People are starting to arrive here, and you can see that there's a little area set up behind me for like a picnic area. They're going to have snacks and drinks and stuff there for people. And then there's going to be some tours around the shop, 3 different options for that. And then we're going to ride the train for a special evening excursion. A lot like the excursion we did last year. That was the first ever THRA steam-pulled excursion. That was a lot of fun. And they're kind of almost repeating that event, but not quite with this one. But it's a great addition, I think, to the weekend.
Yeah, and that was kind of the neat thing about Pickering was a lot of it was reused and a lot of it was shot.
Hi, this is a bit later, and I'm laughing because this is like the 3rd time I've tried to record this, and I haven't been drinking at all. I'm not even kidding. But we're on the train now, and this is also an episode or an edition of You Never Know Who You're Going to Run Into. Because sitting across from us is the guy who also got the memo about wearing a burgundy shirt. And you're going to see him right now. It's George Lucas. No, it's really Tom, our friend Tom. Tom, we see you in a lot of places. And usually we're operating at Dave Lovelace's wonderful layout together, or some other op session together somewhere. But you're here this weekend. How did you get a weekend off?
Yeah, it wasn't easy, believe me. I think it's because I worked so hard for the Easter production at my church. I mean, I was like 2 weeks straight. I said, give me some time off.
And they felt sorry for you, so they did it.
For me, yeah.
Not your favorite food?
Really not.
It's not set as your wallpaper?
Apparently not.
Well, this is a bit later, and we've made it to the place where we're staying for the weekend. And I've been thinking about the event today, that train ride, and just the fact that it was really a perfect day weather-wise. It was like really pleasant up here today. And I was thinking about the ride on the train and how much fun everybody seemed to be having. And thinking about a conversation that we had on the train and also during dinner this evening with some friends that, we've talked about this. I've talked about this on the channel before, that trains are cool and all that, and it's fun, and everybody likes that part of it. But we really come to these things for the friends and the people, right? We meet new friends and make new friends, and we see people that we haven't seen in a while. Sometimes this is the only time of the year. And really what brings it together is the train, or trains, the interest in trains. So, I don't know, it was just something that I was reflecting on as I was sitting here thinking about it. But anyway, day 1 is sort of in the books for the event. I mean, I think Friday was kind of an optional thing. So in the morning, it's up early to go to the West Side reunion, and I'll be recording or documenting, however you want to call it, 2 of the presentations, which will eventually become regular content here on the channel, so that the event planners can link it to their websites. And then the same thing's going to happen on, tomorrow evening, we're supposed to be filming the Banquet keynote, which is another presentation. And then on Sunday, the Sierra Seminar. Think that there were 2 presentations that day that we're also going to be recording for them to be able to put up on their website. So it's going to be fun because we're going to be seeing people, but it's also going to be work. That's just how these things go. But anyway, that's it for day 1. We'll be back tomorrow with updates. Hello, it's the next morning, and we're down in the area of this event where people set up models and paintings and stuff to share, and some people sell stuff here. So this is that room. And then I'll show you the presentation room here in just a minute. But this is where a lot of the people, this is where a lot of the visiting goes on by the people who come to these events. Just was stopped by someone who's a viewer. David, thanks for saying hello. That was very nice, and nice to meet you. He's a guy from Las Vegas, and he's going to be building a West Side lumber company layout. So that's going to be probably really cool. Most of the people that come to this event are very, very good modelers, so there's going to be some cool stuff to look at today. This is also one of these places where you can get detail parts, right? How often do you see these at any kind of shows anymore? Usually you have to order them online or 3D print your own. This is the room for the presentations. As you can see, they don't have one, but they have two screens. And it's kind of a deep room with plenty of seating for everybody. So yeah, it's they're set up here for this. And they'll be doing presentations in here all day. Clinics and also informational stuff. Sharing pictures of West Side Company and all kinds of other narrow gauge mining and logging operations. It's just quite an event.
And it's about the Sullivan family and their legacy to the West Side.
A dozer, some H-deck flat cars, and one of the box cars there. Again, Lane, this is when the railroad had been cut back to claving. This is September of 1959.
This is a little bit later. The presentations have started in the room behind me here. And right now, there's a presentation being given that's the West Side Lumber Company in color. And these look like some really high quality pictures being shown on the screens here. Probably a very, very good presentation. The second clinic is about to start, and boy, it's really getting crowded in here. It's kind of hard to tell, I think, on the camera, but this room's very full. This is like the entry to the main rooms that we were looking at earlier. But you can hear it's pretty busy in here. But so far it's going well. I got my backpack from upstairs, gonna get some cameras set up here for the afternoon after the next clinic is over. But yeah, good event so far. Very well attended.
So first of all, what are your motives, right? Why do you want this building, right? What's your purpose here?
We're still going, and the attendance at this event is, I think, higher than what I've seen in the past. It's really busy here in the showing and telling and selling room. And there's just people all over the place. There's got to be probably at least 100 people just in the two rooms that are next to each other here. So very good attendance this year. I'm impressed.
And the victim says, he hit me. And Elmer Cox says, yes, I did, but had a good reason to do that. And they went to deliberations.
Jack's mother, Myrtle Ness, moved from Washington to Washburn, Wisconsin, which is on Lake Superior. The new owners of the West Side were J.R. Prince and W.R. Thornton, who was president and general manager.
Still a bit later again. As you can see, they're still having a good old time here in the show and tell and sell room is what I'm going to call it. We just wrapped up our last presentation, which was the awards they do a model contest here. And so there were some pretty good models this year. I didn't get any pictures of those because I was busy recording presentations. But yeah, this is a really well-attended event this year. Next up for today is going to be the banquet. This is the presentation room that we're set up in. There's going to be a banquet in here, so food for everybody that's coming. And then you can see there's some cameras back there with a special secret producer. There's going to be a presentation for the banquet as well. And we've produced these every year for the past 3 years since they started doing this banquet. And this year, I forget what the topic is, but the presenter is someone named Brian Wise, who's related to a guy named Howard Wise, who's the person at Niles Canyon that has restored the 9010, or I should say the lead on that project. I'm pretty sure if you talk to him, he'd say that he had a lot of help. But anyway, it'll be an interesting presentation, and I'm looking forward to it. Well, good morning. It's the next day, and the Sierra Seminar is underway. This is the show and tell room. It's empty right now because there's a really interesting presentation going on in the room adjacent. And here's what it looks like in there. It is jam-packed to the gills with people to hear Kyle Wyatt talking. Kyle was one of the people heavily involved with the California State Railroad Museum for the past 20 or 30 years. And he's retired now, but he gives some great presentations. Oh, look, it's John. Hi, John. Hi. How are things going so
Good.
far?
Great.
Yeah.
Had a nice talk with Chris Hart.
Oh, yeah.
With what's going on. So I think that Chris can't give us a lot of details, but he's covered a lot of information.
Tell the viewers who Chris Hart is.
He is the brother of Mike Hart, who's the owner. Chris is one of the key people, and he was here to talk about the purchase of the new railroad over the Sierra Northern.
Oh, the Sierra Northern.
Yeah. So
the
that's
Sierra
basically
Northern was sold recently.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I can never remember the name of the other company.
Yeah. It's some name that doesn't have anything to do with railroad.
Yeah.
It's something else, like an investment company or
a
something.
lot of questions, what we're going to do in the future, how we're going to deal with Railtown. And he's always been very positive of trying to make sure Railtown should be even better than it is.
Oh, good.
And his concept is with the Sierra, maybe with the new ownership, and they can get everybody together better. Because right now, you start talking about things, and there's problems with the State Parks Foundation and the Railtown people and the railroad.
Yeah.
And they just can't get over the problems they've had.
Yeah.
We need new fresh people, so they're hoping that's going to help.
New fresh people. Like me, I took a shower this morning.
Oh, that's good.
So I'm fresh.
Well, maybe.
Cut off the SPs on the main, and then would go down this crossover, go down through Hunts.
This is an example of you never know who you'll run into. Although I was pretty sure I was going to run into this person here at the Sierra Seminar today, and it is Toothache Man, Chris Rogers. Hey, with no D.
Wait, where's my toothpick? Oh my gosh, they don't know who I am now.
Nope, they won't recognize you because you don't have a toothpick. But what are you up to here? It looks like you have something. There's a painting behind you.
Yeah. So, in addition to other things that I do with having to do with railroads, is I also paint. So I do have some of my paintings for sale here at this event.
Yeah. This is a little bit deceptive because the one that's visible right now isn't actually yours.
Yeah, that's not mine. So that one actually belongs to Patrick Carnahan. So he and I are sharing some space here, and Patrick and I are good friends, and we've known each other ever since I was a little kid.
Yeah.
So my paintings, I actually have two on display right here. So this is actually,
let's take a look.
This is actually my latest painting. So this is a double header with the 3 and the 28 coming over Selwyn Creek Trestle. I believe so. I painted this based off of a photo that I took when I was a kid. When Railtown used to have the double-headed runs that went up the hill. So I want to say this photo was taken in the early 90s, maybe 91, 92-ish. So I painted this based off of that photo. Actually have one down here, so for those of you that know the history of the Sierra, this is the Sierra number 24, which Sierra no longer has. But this photograph was actually based off of a photograph that Patrick Carnahan's father took. So Patrick allowed me to be able to paint that photograph based off of his dad's picture. So that's what that is. And I believe that was up the hill around Standard, if I remember correctly. So
pretty cool. And I understand you actually sold one, huh?
I did. I sold one today of the number 3 that I did. It was actually based off of a photo that I took on a photo trip last September where the three pulled two of the green wooden coaches for the first time in 30 years. So
we were there.
We were
there together.
In fact, I think the photo that I painted, I was standing right
next to him. So I feel like I'm famous. It's almost like I painted it.
Hey, and that happened.
Wait a minute. So if I helped you paint the picture, don't I deserve a commission? Perfect. Anyway,
I'll get you a toothpick.
Oh, thanks. That'll
for my toothpick company.
Yeah, the toothpick collection. Make sure it's not used.
That's right.
So that's Chris Rogers with no D.
A little bit later, there's another presentation going on in the presentation room. We just a little while ago finished the third or fourth one. That was a day in the life of a brakeman on the Sierra. This is one that I was asked to record for the event, and it'll be published here sometime pretty soon on the channel. It was really fun. These old railroader stories are pretty cool.
So, I was in charge of Eric's
and so we ended up, I ended up approaching Railtown back in January of 2025 before number 3 was even completed. And
this is a couple days later. We came home right after the Sierra seminar was over. And I have to say that they had a lot of really, really good presentations on both of these events this year. And I mentioned during the recordings how well attended it was. Now, I did not ask, and I haven't heard anything official yet from any of the organizers, but I would guess that that was their best attendance in recent memory, because it seemed like it was a lot more crowded than usual to me. And it could be because they had the extra steam train excursion the day before. I don't know. But it was a great event, and I'm really glad we went. I have, I think, 4 presentations that will end up on the channel here in the coming weeks. And so that way they can link to them from their respective websites. But yeah, great weekend overall. And we have kind of a short week this week, because next weekend coming up, we're going to have the Yosemite Valley Railroad weekend. And I'm not sure what that's going to look like in terms of programs, but we will at least have some podcast updates from that event as well. And it's multiple days. We've come to Jack Burgess's Yosemite Valley Railroad. Well, we came to this house, but the railroad is open today because this is the first day of YV days or YV weekend. I'm not sure what we're calling it these days. And to be honest, I'm not sure how many or what kind of podcast updates we're going to have for this, because it's kind of an informal deal. And we're going to be, the plan is to run around and look at all these different places that'll be starting tomorrow. And I mean, different places as in actual places on the real YV. Well, there's nothing left, but there are places where you can see little remnants of things. And I don't think it's a video that can be made. It's not organized enough to be made into a program for the channel, but I probably will do some updates, just like what we saw or what we're planning to see. But we'll see how that goes. But I did want to mention this, because this is going to be gone sometime, probably within the next year or two. And it's just really neat to get another look at it, because it's a very well-known model railroad. And it's one that Jack, I think, really pioneered something by making something as close to an actual prototype as could be. So I thought I'd show it one more time. And yeah, this one of the last times I'll see it, probably. because we aren't shooting our videos up here anymore. But anyway, that's the update for now, and we'll have more updates sometime soon. This is the next day, and we're just starting our YV weekend adventure. You can see there's a whole bunch of people behind me here, and we're supposed to be going to various sites along the YV today, or the former YV, what is now probably mostly gone. And so we're in Merced. I guess this is where the Merced station once was, or maybe this is just our meeting place. I'm trying to figure it out as I go because I'm not completely up on what's happening. Maybe I'll get someone who knows what's happening to talk on here. That might work.
Hi, I'm Bernard Chins from Amsterdam, Holland, and I'm in front of the ESP depot at Merced, where the YV would come and position the 330, the beautiful car that's being restored, right here for people to step over from the SP into the YV.
So we have, probably close to 20 people here today that are all here to see what the YV was and where it went. I think that's pretty cool. And a whole bunch of these people are people we know from other places like Niles Canyon Railway, PCR. Yeah, it's pretty cool to see how many people are still interested in something that's been gone for, almost 100 years.
Does anybody else want to have a look at this picture?
Oh, what's the picture?
Awesome.
What is this, Wes?
That is about where we're standing right now. We're standing just about right in the middle of the tracks right here.
Okay.
So, yeah.
Summer too.
So this is where the shops were over here?
No, the shops were over behind the depot. They're where a school is now.
Oh, so that's where the depot was.
The depot is right about where the metro is. Maybe a little bit further because you can see there's Main Street going across right here. So down just a little further was the depot.
Oh, good.
We're learning one of the pitfalls of having a convoy of, I don't know, we have probably 10 or 12 cars trying to follow each other around, and we've already had to stop because we lost a couple. Oh, I don't know, maybe they saw who was here and decided they didn't want to hang out with us today. I don't know, but so it's going to be a real fun day today. So we're on our way now. Well, we stopped at a common intersection and we're waiting for people to catch up. And then we're going to be on our way to the next place on the list. One good thing is that there's a list of places that everybody got. So I guess if they go to a place on the list and wait, eventually we'll show up. The rest of us will show up. So anyway, we're already having a really fun time today. This is called Edendale Creek. And I'm pretty sure that what we're looking at across the way there are old bridge abutments.
The waterfall in the vicinity.
Oh.
Going crazy.
Are you taking pictures or videos?
Videos. We're making a video. I'm going to put you on my webcast.
I'm taking a video of Steve taking a video of me taking a video of him taking a video of me.
I hope you don't put that on.
I will put it on.
Oh, no.
You're embarrassing me. And you can see definitely this is where a little bridge was. We got the abutment on this side. And we got the abutment on that side. And this is so obviously a railroad grade. And this is looking to the west, generally. South and west. Jack is just off camera here saying that this concrete down at the bottom where the water is really rushing through there probably was added later, but the abutment and the rock and all that is pretty original. And he says that the railroad probably would have just added a bunch of rock down here instead of building this concrete stuff. And it does look newer actually, now that you mention it. This is the next stop, the Merced River.
I don't know what we're going to look at here, but I guess we'll find out.
This is crossing the river right here. So the trestle was out here.
Jesse, I emailed your
So
dad
forth.
a whole packet of track.
Okay.
Has photos of a lot of this stuff, of the stuff that Jack was showing.
This river would obviously
So,
wash out. There's probably much wider during the winter. We're here because we just crossed the river.
Yeah.
So we're about here.
Mm-hmm. So apparently this is the right-of-way that I'm standing on, right in the gauge.
So the Yosemite guy came along here, went across that bridge abutment we were just at, and then went right over across the road here and through that sign that says Oxbow Ranch, and then went to the north side of the highway going into Snelling.
If we go back out, make the turn, road starts getting narrower to the railroad tracks. And
So the station
there's no
is
road
down
to it.
2 blocks?
Huh?
The station's that way?
Yeah.
So, see right here? These are railroad tracks. That was the log spur that went down along the river right in front of the mill.
And you think that's what we're looking at right here?
That is exactly. So just this side of the oak tree, tracks going right across the road, right at the corner there.
What's that old stone building? Is that on
the old stone building?
Right there, there's some kind of a building.
Oh,
What do
yeah,
you suppose that
that's
is?
part of, that's part of the, probably part of this.
Huh.
So here we are.
Uh-huh.
So the tracks came across here. There was a turntable over here. The tracks came across here, went right alongside the river, and this is where the log dump was. They had the lumber mill right here. All the drying yards were located up in here.
So that's to our left over here.
Yep. So what's the next? That's the second one we've seen.
That bridge right there that the train's on?
Yeah. Wasn't it still here, Jack, when you showed me?
Yeah. So, I mean, we would be standing right there.
Oh, I see. So that
So
train picture was taken from across the canyon, basically?
We are on the roadbed. We are driving the YV right now.
That's what I thought.
Yeah. So when it goes across here, the road will take a kind of turn right and go down and around it.
Looking down here with Bridge 29A and this little gully it fills, the old roadbed would have been right just above the lake and below that last stand of trees there. So it's still visible to this day if you're in a little drier time. It's lake right now.
This is just the picture I was thinking of.
Yep.
So that's taken down from the riverbed up at the bridge that used to be where we were just looking at.
And 2/3 of this picture are still here, at least for rolling stock.
Right? The 107 and the 330.
Yep.
So we just hiked up this trail. Well, it's not even a trail. This is the old right-of-way. And we're hiking to the tunnel that you can see just past this tree. I think someone in the group was calling it Tunnel 1. And it looks like it's open still. Like you can go in there. And there it is. How cool is that? It smells real good in here. It's very echoey. Very echoey.
I'm hoping you can still see the rock on the side when you get out of here, that it's not all grown over.
So we've emerged out the other side of the tunnel. I'm thinking out of the stuff that we've seen so far, it just keeps getting more interesting for one thing. But this alone, I think, was worth it to come up here. This is pretty cool. I don't think I've ever walked through a legit abandoned railroad tunnel like this. There it is. Picture in front of the tunnel for the podcast. It's my catch of the month. This is the next day, and we're at a place called El Portal. And you can see behind me here, there's a Yosemite Valley Railway building. This is the Bagby station, I guess, that was relocated here at some point. And there's also a turntable that's just off camera to the right. This is really cool. This is the only YV stuff I've ever seen in living color. And I'll just soak it in. Something else that's instantly recognizable from Jack's layout. These water towers with the 2 tanks. I'm pretty sure this is from Bagby as well. On the layout, he has one just like that at Bagby. What do you know about what's up here?
That's an engine. I think they call those cabooses or something like that. I've never heard of plural caboose.
Yeah? Caboose. What else do you know about it?
Nothing. I'm out of here.
So this shay was the number 6 for the Hetch Hetchy Railroad. This was used in the dam construction. It spent most of its life going up and down Priest Grade, a very steep railroad grade, and even steeper road grade, if you ever take it. And it was hauling about 3 to 4 cars as all this powerful shay, the biggest 3-truck shay ever made, could handle up the hill. And it would spend the night up in Groveland and then spend the next day hauling loads up and down. And the other engines took the loads to the bottom of Priest Grade and from the top of Priest Grade at Groveland.
They would go down and meet the train coming the other way, exchange, and come back. And so,
wow, look at that picture. That is so cool.
Aren't these the same huts that are on the layout?
That one's still original, but the others have been.
Well, there was a 3-man crew, or 4-man crew, but the engineer had a bigger house up here, which is gone.
Oh, that engineer's house is gone?
Yeah, it was somewhere there. Because he didn't want to be around his subordinates.
The riffraff.
Would you pass that around, honey, too?
Pardon?
Pass it around so people could see.
So we're wandering around here at El Portal, looking at the old pictures and the new pictures, meaning the pictures I'm taking right here. And I came across this place. That's my place. We have a possible discovery. Wes thinks this might
small for a water pipe
for an engine, right?
Yeah.
What do you think?
I don't think it's original.
What were you thinking it might?
Like.
What were you thinking it might be?
There was a pipe up in Bagby that looked similar to this, but much larger, and it was so trains could take water from the water tank without having to be right under it.
Right from the other side.
Downhill trains.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, maybe let's take a closer look at it. Yeah, we decided that's not a train artifact. Wes is really smart. You wouldn't know you wouldn't know by looking at him, but he's really smart.
He's not trained. He's not trained.
We think he's not trained.
Used to be the.
This was the Hotel Del Portal.
And it used to live
Right up here.
where this Red Barn house is.
Yes. Yep. This whole area, the whole flat area. This is a huge hotel.
And it was owned by the railroad.
Oh, it was a railroad hotel.
Yeah.
That's right.
And you take
they
the
eventually
railroad up here, and then you find out I have to walk all the way up there to get my room.
Yeah, I know. What the hell? I mean, come on.
It's not very first class accommodation
here.
Yeah, it's not really first class accommodations.
Down.
Yes.
We moved it down to the flat below where we started and built the smaller hotel, Hotel El Portal.
History everywhere.
I know. The rock wall we saw under this house, right around the curve, that I think is original because that is
I think so
old.
too. I think so. It didn't look like a.
Because look at, they had all of this garden areas. So that's
Yeah, I think that would be right down about here.
I agree with you.
think it's part of the gardens.
It's an archaeology trip.
God, if only we could go back and stay at that hotel.
We found something.
Used by the YV.
Say it again.
Speeder used by the YV.
A speeder used by the YV.
Yeah. And it was donated by Al Rose and Stanley Snook.
Oh, we know who Al Rose is. Let's take a look. It's a little bit later, and we're stopped at a notable place to look at some footings of an old water tank.
that used to exist here. That was part of the Yosemite Valley Railroad infrastructure.
These are the footings for the Moss Canyon water tank. There's a big Y here, and it's a good convenient place for locomotives to take water, and in particular for the down trains, like the log trains. Stop here and tank up the water. So you have the 2 footings in front. There's a couple of footings up behind the bushes there, and it was just a stilt water spout, and it was fed by Moss Canyon Creek, which is that creek right over there. When people would be riding the railroad up here, in particular on the rear deck of the Yosemite Valley 330 observation car, they would point out local rock formations like the one above me, and I hope my finger's pointing in the right direction.
Pretty close.
But that is the Indian chief who's looking up at the sky, so you don't need a lot of imagination to see it.
Here's another remnant of the railroad. I'm told that this footing was part of a winch system that was used to move cars on a siding that used to be here. You can see how it's wide here. We're basically riding or driving down the old right-of-way on this road here. So that's kind of cool. When there was no locomotive present, they would use the winch that was attached to this thing to move stuff. We have a very exciting discovery over here.
Screw the abutments.
Original wagon tie.
Oh yeah, how about that?
Well, that's pretty cool.
I'm surprised it's in that good of shape.
Oh. That's worth a photograph. Oh, so this is the curve, huh? Right here?
That is the curve, correct?
That's the bottom of this incline. Well, that's pretty cool.
And I'm trying to describe what we're supposed to be looking at. Okay, so that's good.
So everyone in our group went into this little house. This apparently was where a guy named Jim Law lived many, many years ago. Jim Law is actually a character on Jack's layout of the YV. And just down the road here where we came from is modeled on Jack's layout, a place called Incline. And he has a little building modeled with 3 guys standing there. And one of those guys is supposed to be Jim Law.
He sat out
who lived here.
Table, and Jim Law actually signed the book.
Jim signed one of Jack's books?
Actually, one of Hank's books.
Oh, nice.
So Jack hadn't had his book out yet. Sorry. I don't think he had his book out when Jim Law was alive. You can see the little gray scar there. That was where the hoppers went up back and forth to the bunker down there. To the left of it is a switchback trail. Lots of poison oak. And we hiked up to there and around, followed the little railroad at the top, and all the way around. You can see that going back there. Right back where it kind of goes down, you can see a lot of rock. That was the quarry back there.
So here's that incline right up there.
Oh, okay.
So that level up there you can see.
And they would unload the stuff in here and then load it into rock cars like this, which most people would call a hopper car, which is what these guys call them rock cars because
that's all they carry. Oh yeah, look at that.
There's some
this
loaded.
Is massive. It's stored on the bunkers.
So this is if you ever wanted real adventure. There's one of these little tramway things on a cable that goes across the river. You can see it right there. If we ever come up here chasing trains, I'm going to get Alvin to ride that across with Gary. This is our last stop, I think, for this tour. It's at a place that's called Briceburg. And they have, I think, some campground someplace that you can take a remote road into. We're not going to do that because it's kind of overcast and looks like it could rain any minute now. And we don't want to get stuck in any muddy roads, not having off-road vehicles or anything. So I think that's it for this update. And I just want to thank Jack and Jackie for doing this. And of course, Wes Swift had a lot to do with this year's adventure. I think he picked most of the spots that we went to look at. And then Sydney also did a lot of the arranging for everybody who was going to be here. So it was really fun. And this is something that I've wanted to do for a long time. I remember telling Jack at least 10 years ago, I'd like to come out here and, have him show me all these spots that he modeled. And it's really cool because it's kind of the opposite of what normally happens on layouts. That's where I'll go to a layout, I'll see a place where I've been, and I can put my finger down on the layout and say, look, I've been here. So I really buy into the layout. Well, in this case, I know Jack's layout so well, having filmed it as often and as much as we did over the past many years, that I've seen places on the layout and now I've been to them. So it's like the other direction. I don't know if that makes any sense, but it's pretty cool. But anyway, that's it for me from Briceburg. And I think that may be the last podcast update live like this that I do, because this begins podcast week. I have a podcast coming out as it stands in 6 days from right now. So I'm going to be busy editing all this stuff and putting it all together for the channel. That's it. See ya.
And now for the catches of the month. Here are a few shots from Dan DeGraff from when the big boy came to Roseville to kick off its coast-to-coast tour. Chris Rogers sends in this shot of Sierra Northern number 250 sporting a special paint scheme leading a train at Chinese Hill on March 6th of 2026. And here's his garden-scale representation of the same locomotive. That's a pretty complex paint scheme to replicate, and Chris did it by hand. This photo was sent in by Kevin Hill. This is the big boy on its way east after visiting the Sacramento area. This was taken on the Ketty Y. And finally, here's a shot sent in by Ethan Doty, who caught us doing what we do. This was taken during the big boy visit at Portola. If you have a train or model catch you'd like to share, please email it to podcast@tsgmultimedia.com. Be sure you own the shots and include the whats, whens, and wheres of the shots you send in. As I mentioned at the start of the show, we're in Southern California right now on yet another production trip in order to make more great programs for you to enjoy. You can help us make the content on this channel by joining the TSG Train Crew on Patreon. It's also worth doing if you prefer your behind-the-scenes updates as things happen. Check out patreon.com/TSG Multimedia so you don't miss out. Thanks so much for watching and listening, and I'll see you next time.
TSG Train Crew members get behind-the-scenes access and sneak previews in 4K ultra-high definition. Go to patreon.com/TSG Multimedia for more information.
From the bloopers, what do we want him for?
It's the guy that got in our shot. It's the guy that got in our shot.
Hi. Hi, John.
It's the guy that up our video.